is one of the important topic where we will study the moisture importance and the water activity. So what we have to do is we'll start the topic by what is the food only. See, food, you guys, you know, it is a nutritive component or nutritive substance which initiate or provide the energy. Energy to all. To all means you can talk about microorganisms as well as macroorganisms like us. So what is to be done is we'll understand what is the importance of intermediate moisture content. You know that microbes are proliferating in the growth, in terms of growth by high moisture content and your water activity. You guys are well aware about the moisture content and water activity. I'll explain in short. We talk about moisture content. Moisture content is your total available water. In food substrate and if you talk about your water activity, that is AW, it is equilibrium of vapor pressure generated by water in food with respect to vapor pressure of pure water. In short, you can also say it that available water in free state for microbial growth is referred as your water activity. So what happens if you correlate both things? If you have a high moisture content is high and water activity is also high, that means microbial growth will be high as well. So that means your food safety, if you talk about food safety and stability is dependent on, it's proportional to the moisture content and water availability. How food safety and stability is directly proportional to the microbial activity? You can easily say that the number of microbial growth is dependent on the moisture content of the food and the water activity. So how you will be calculating the moisture content? I'll have a short session of it. If you want to calculate the moisture content of a food, what you will do is you will take the total weight of food content. I'll write food content in FC minus final weight after drying, final weight of food content by 100. So what will be the moisture content in terms we are talking about some food products? If you take a tomato for weighing 60 grams per sample and your final weight after drying is approximately 3 grams per sample divided by 100 is equal to moisture content. So what is the moisture content in terms of tomato? This is an example. It's like it's your 57 by 100. Final weight into 100 is the answer. So what it will be upon 60 into 100. So this is your, I'll write the final weight, total weight into 100. So what it will be? It will be approximately, if we remove these things, it is 94% approx. So you can easily understand that the total amount of water in the tomato in this case is 94%. But if we talk about the water activity, it will be based on the pressure. So water availability will be based on the pressure exerted by water available divided by pure water pressure, which is equal to 1. So whatever will be the calculation upon 1 will be your water activity of the same. So what happens, I'll make sure to understand this thing. What can be done is, if you take the water activity of pure water, it will be approximately 1. And if you go down water activity for fruits and vegetable, it will be approximately 0.8. So the water activity, you can figure it out, varies from 0 to 1. So maximum value will be 1 for pure water. If you dry them up by the dry process, it will be approximately 0.2 to 0.4. It varies from 0.2 to 0.4. And if you talk about water activity of intermediate foods, it will be from 0.35 to 0.6. So as per the data I have already stated, 0.35 to 0.6 is the water activity in case of intermediate foods. In intermediate foods, if water activity is approximately this size, so I'll take out one of the important facts, that for your microbial growth, there are 3 different variant of your available water activity, and the division of complete microbial class as such. There is the maximum requirement. The first one is your maximum requirement of water activity. There is a minimum requirement of water activity, and there is the optimum requirement of water activity. So in case of microbe, if you take the example of bacteria, you have the maximum water requirement, water activity is 0.9 to 0.95, which is quite high. If you take same thing with case of molds and yeast, it is approximately 0.7 to 0.8. So this is also quite high. If you take the minimum requirement of water activity in case of bacteria, it is ranging from 0.7 to 0.8. If you take same thing with case of molds and yeast, it is 0.55 to 0.7. And if you take the optimum requirement, it is 0.9 in case of bacterial growth, and in case of mold it is 0.7. So you can easily figure out if these two things are there, 0.9 and 0.7, and you have an intermediate food activity at 0.35 to 0.6, that means it will decrease the growth of your microbes which results in food safety. Now we'll move ahead. Why it is highly important to understand the intermediate moisture food. It's like when you take the dried fruit, the dry content in foods, you have the loss of pH value. Also there is a loss of nutrients, and there is a loss of available water activity as well. So this is the disadvantage of dried food products. So it is initiating or it is promoting the intermediate food products or intermediate moisture food products. So what happens if you take the examples of intermediate food products? Intermediate food products. There are jams, jellies, candies, etc. So these things are the examples of intermediate foods. Jam, jelly and candies are the examples of different intermediate food products. So how it is prepared, I'll write a protocol for preparation, because you guys have already understand the advantages and disadvantages of different moisture content, available water activity, and different food processing methodologies having the disadvantage, promoting the intermediate food products. So what is the protocol for preparation of jams and jelly? In case you are having the fruit, for example you have apple, which is having the 0.95 water activity in the freshly available fruit. So what is to be done is you just select the fruits or apple. In terms we are taking the example as an apple. After selection you will perform the washing step, not from the normal water, by the potable water, or you can also use the pure water for cleaning it up to remove the surface microbial growth. It will remove out the surface microbial growth. Then you will start the peeling step. Peeling step is there, where you will be removing out the outer surface of a fruit. After peeling it up, you will perform the slicing, where you prepare the slice of different measurements. For example 0.25 centimeter to 1 centimeter as the width of apple. Then you will perform your drying method. You will be not applying the drying method, you will be applying the blanching method, which is a example of a drying method. Blanching, what happens in the blanching, you will take the temperature from 80 to 100 degrees Celsius for different food products, and the timing will be from 2 minutes to 5 minutes. You will not be taking more temperature and more time for the blanching step. What happens in the blanching, you take fruit content into the water and you apply the temperature of 80 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius for 2 to 5 minutes. After which what you will do is you will prepare a syrup of sugar and add up into the above sample. And after preparation of syrup, you will be adding citric acid as a preservative. You will add citric acid, and then you will perform the drying of above mixture till you obtain the moisture content ranging to 50% to 70% as per your requirement. Not 50%, you can also go for 35 to 40. So I'll take 40 as a percentage. So from 40 to 70 you will be taking moisture content for jams and jelly. So this jam has been prepared, or the best part is before you are preparing the jams, you have to prepare a jar to store it. Prepare the jar for storage. What you will do is you will take any jar from your home and you will be performing a cleaning step for jars. What is the cleaning step? At cleaning step you will be taking the temperature of 80 to 100 degrees Celsius, which is equivalent to your blanching step, for 10 to 20 minutes. 10 to 20 minutes, and you will place your jar and cap at the water. Jar and cap at the water only. So this solution, this preparation of jam is there, and you will be storing it at jars and with the cap. So this completes your jam jelly preparation, which is an example of your intermediate moisture food. Nowadays, this is a novel technology. This is a novel technology which is growing up extremely fast for storing the different foods for longer time with least microbial growth. I'll state an example of a mango. The example of mango is, firstly it was taken as the 14 point. This is a part of a study where the mango has been taken, a study has been made at mango to check the intermediate food content and its activity. 14.3 into 10 to the power 3 CFU per gram was the microbial load of a mango. Then after we have applied the blanching step to the above sample, what happened? The content was reached to 0.15 to CFU per gram. So you can easily understand there is a high decline of the microbial load. Microbial load has been declined. In case you can take the percentage of it, 0.15 upon 14.3 into 100, as these two things will be cancelled out. You can take it will be multiplied by 10 and this will be multiplied by 100. So what happened? 1500 upon 1460. So this will be approximately 90 plus percentage of microbial load has been declined. So this promotes that if you are not performing your drying method, blanching can be a method for food safety and stability. You don't only promote the safety word, you have to also take about the stability as well, as drying will be promoting the loss of pH, nutrition content and other activities as well. So the main focus for intermediate food, moisture food, is like you have to save the nutrition content with storage for longer time. So today what we have understand is that in case you want to store any of the food content for a longer duration, you are not only dependent upon the drying methodologies, you have to go for blanching step as well, and you can prepare your intermediate food content which can survive for a longer duration without harming the stability of a food. So this topic finishes up here.